Go ahead, David.
You see, Ellen, I would never lose my support on zoning. That's number one point. Because I know the impact it has even in my own community. Fine. My point about stakeholder and their impact. My worry is also the people who have never seen these people as people who have never think of their own well-being instead of their own selfish gain. The people, everybody are so vulnerable. We have been mesmerized by the people, these stakeholders who have never think about the people themselves. People who have never even they play politics with life. Nobody, they cannot even produce a leader that can even blame people. Instead, the leader that will be respecting them and they will be outside there and they ruling the country or the state. People who have never seen the capacity of an individual to vote for him irrespective of the party. But who are interested in the party and interested with the stakeholder and they will listen to the organ. We say, hey, Baba.
Who will, sit together, discuss the interests of the masses. For stakeholder in Nigeria, reverse is the case. These are men who come to discuss everything about their own personal and selfish interests. The stakeholder in Nigeria has not done any good to we the masses. Just like the analysts in the studio have said, the stakeholders that have come together like in Lagos State and remove the former governor, we call such people stakeholders. Let the masses decide who and who should rule them. The so-called stakeholder in Nigeria has brought us where we are today, and they have caused us a lot of pain. This must not continue. Zoning, when you look at it critically, I think we should support it so that every part of the country can feel the impact of good governance. Thank you. I have a wonderful day, engineer.
Thank you for your contribution, Stephen Bamiye. 080988888925 or 090200200925. Join us on Political Voices. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone.
Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Amadi from Enugu.
Amadi, please be more audible. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm aligning myself with Barrister Korea in the studio. Because it's only those people that rule the Enugu, governors of Enugu State for the past 21 years, they have not achieved anything. Now,
when you say they have not achieved anything, in what regard? Are there indices you're using to judge that?
For example, in Enugu State now, no pipe-borne water, no electricity, no employment, nothing. Nothing is moving on in Enugu State. You see? So what I'm saying is that zoning, I'm aligning myself with it. Nobody from Enugu West is stressed. How can you tell your child you continue to be the last person in the class?
All right.
Somebody will continue to be first every time. This time around, we are going to struggle it out.
Thank you, Amadi.
It has gone round. It has gone round. Every zone has participated.
Okay.
We are now going to fight it with our everything we have.
Thank you very much, Amadi. Make sure you're fighting in a civil manner. All right. And here on the Facebook live stream, we have this one from Omaga Namani from Amagunze in Enugu State. The primaries done by various political parties in Nigeria to select candidates to represent them during elections do not usually give every card-carrying member of the party an edge or full participation during the exercise. Rather, it is hijacked by some key elements or stakeholders as well. There is therefore an urgent need for electoral reform to bring sanity and credibility in the system. Ifan Yeze, all right, thank you for joining us. Ovuna Dekland says, good morning. My take on today's discussion is that stakeholders have major roles to play in zoning of political positions, but the issue is all about the selfish interests they have in mind before presenting a candidate in a political party. On that note, I wish to ask if it will be wrong when the masses in a political party are given mandate to elect or select a candidate of their choice during party primaries. Meanwhile, I think that will help in strengthening the political parties in this country. Therefore, what level can one attain before you will emerge as a major stakeholder? That's another question. We have many questions here, especially from the WhatsApp line. We had Dr. Chiwi Koba, yes, who is one of our analysts. He asked, who are the stakeholders? We've answered the question. What are the criteria for determining who is qualified to be recognized as a stakeholder? Is the process of selecting stakeholders representative, transparent, and inclusive? What is the process of selecting candidates for elective positions by the stakeholders? Is it transparent, open, fair, inclusive, and evidence-based process? And he ended with this Igbo, Igbo word, or Igbo expression, Manu Akara di Utonyera TBR, to that's what he said. Right, Dr. Okorie, let's allow you answer the questions.
You see, the question is a rhetorical question. I've already tried to, answer the question. I have also said that the people should line behind me and let us do this, find out the reason why the non-performance or lack of, meeting our expectations. The reason lies in the selection process at the primary level, at the nursery level. People are allowed to participate when they have already had a candidate. That is when they begin to visit the Oba or Obi or Igwe for campaign. Why is it that the traditional rulers don't invite them for discussion in terms of who we become before the campaigns, before the selections, so that they will make their own input? Why is it that the popes, the bishops, the general overseers do not invite political parties for discussion in terms of who is eligible and who is capable and who can hold the mantle before the elections? So that is what we call citizens' engagement and participation, so that they find out what is working in their minds before the election. But they will sit at the fence. They will be waiting until when they finish the process and bring their candidate. And not late for change. You can't change their candidate. So we are saying that that is why we started early for this campaign, so that people do not even know that nobody is against zoning. I want people to know that I am not against zoning. The problem is that who is zoning it? What is the parameter for the zoning? Who are within the confines of the room where the zoning takes place? Now, for instance, the people of Ogu are crying. They are crying because they have no stakeholder in the midst of the stakeholders who will speak, who will bring their own issue to the table. So if you don't have any stakeholder, you see how the stakeholder came into discussion now. If you don't have a critical stakeholder where the decisions are made, your issues are sidelined. Nobody discusses about whether you don't have a deputy governor, whether you don't have a minister, whether you don't have governor before. If they come back again, they will pass you by because nobody will speak for you. So that is why the people needed to agitate and participate from ab initio, from day one, from the primary level, even from the congresses. People should join the political parties. So politics is too important to be left for politicians alone. So people should engage. When they try to compare Nigeria and America and UK, they forget about how far those people have gone. The orientation, their value system, their system, how the system works, their legal system. Because you can see our own legal system. They are still battling for independence. They are still battling for autonomy. They are still battling for first line charge of their own, their remittances and their budgets. They are still struggling. The parliament is also struggling for independence. They are also still struggling to be allowed to do their job. The executive hold the money and use the money as a bait. You can see what is going on at traditional rulers because they have certificate and money. So if you don't play along, they whip you. They whip you back. If you don't agree, whether they want, if government wants zoning and you say don't want zoning, they will deregister you. They will take a certificate. They will force you to agree. So this is where the critical decisions are taken. But if you try to engage the government before the selection, You see, Anambra will have the election early next year. Now, if the traditional rulers did not wait till this late hour, and they've been engaging governor, they've been engaging government, they've been engaging the political parties, the various political parties, the APC, the APGA, the PDP in Anambra, they will be able to know and gauge the direction they are going. So that this last hour now, that they want to select people, you will make input. You will also find who to support. Those who will parade their, their policies, their, all their sentimentalities and whatever they want to do. But now, some of them have already pigeonholed their candidates. If you ask me now, I'll tell you the governor knows who he wants to become. And if you are saying a different thing, then you become an enemy. So this is it. They now allow governor in various places, allow president, they call them leaders, to now take decision, overall decision, whether the decisions are going to be right or wrong. Even the zoning, who will now zone it? So when they zone it to somebody. They don't zone it to a group, but people outside, the fella sang a song and say they are outside world and they are inside world. So people who are outside world will think that they are part of the package. They don't know that somebody if they want to zone it, for instance, today, they'll have a candidate they want to zone it to. So when they zone it to, so this is where the critical mass is. So the people now have to participate ab initio, and that is when you get what you want. And that is when, if they don't give what you want, you now deny them that support.
All right.
So you now get what you want. Now the power will now be transferred back to the people.
Let's hear from Mr. Christian Chima, all the way from Anambra State, good governance advocate, public policy analyst, and former media assistant to the former gubernatorial candidate of PDP in Anambra State, Oseloka Obasa.
Hello.
Yes, I know you heard the expressions already made by the contributors on the social media platforms and the calls we had, the questions that are still begging for answers. The process of selecting these stakeholders, is it representative? Is it transparent? The process of selecting candidates for elective positions by the stakeholders, how inclusive is it? Is it evidence-based? Is it an evidence-based process? What are your thoughts?
Well, the process has always been whoever is in the room where the decision is made
Yes.
has his or her rationale for supporting or opposing a decision. So if the stakeholders are in the room determining who will fly the party's flag or what zone will produce the next governor, the questions on their mind, is it what will benefit the masses or what will enrich their pockets? So that is why, as long as there is life, there will always be influencers and there will always be the influence. But the critical question to ask now is, the person who is influencing me, is his decision in alignment with my interests? So if you're telling me to go and vote for candidate A, is candidate A the best thing that will happen to my life or the best thing that will happen to your business? So the led must always ask their leaders questions I know that because of positions or maybe by accident of birth, because there are some Igwes that we are just born to be Igwes, right? There are some communities in Anambra State, I think some in Enugu State, that their Igweship is being by hereditary. So in those communities, it is just by accident of birth that this person is now a leader. But the subject must be able to ask, this is my leader. Am I to benefit from where he's leading me to? If the answer is no, then the masses can take decisions against the interests of their leaders. But whenever there is an alignment between the interests of the leaders and or in this case stakeholders and the interests of their followers, then you can now have that support. In terms of party membership, it's ironical because a lot of people stay in democracy and they don't understand the way democracy works. For instance, at the stage, for people who decide to vote, at the time they elect to participate, the major political parties have concluded their selection processes, right? So you see that when people in the society who are larger people in the society who have interest in how they are being governed, they say they will come out to vote. Yes, they don't participate in partisan politics. If you don't participate in partisan politics, there is no way you will be there to. So when you understand this thing, you begin to position yourself to either be a statutory member or wherein you cannot be a statutory member, you become an elected member who will go to represent your particular zone or your particular ward at the state conference or at the national convention. So if you're not a member of the party, there is no how you will know this thing. So a lot of people, my encouragement to our people is this: join any political party of your choice. It mustn't be PDP or APC or APO or anything. Join any member political party of your choice and become an active member there. It is by your contribution. It mustn't be money. Some stakeholders are not money. Some stakeholders are just opinion leaders. For instance, when you go to a meeting, there are OS members in the meeting, and there are people who are always vocal in the meeting, that anytime they make contributions to the meeting, the other people will say, yes, I agree with Mr. Koya, I agree with this person, I agree with Barrister. So if you go to a meeting and become a vocal member of the meeting, when they make a decision, you voice your own, and at some point you become a stakeholder because of the number of people that agree with your submission. So the process is open. Nobody will invite you to become a stakeholder.
Odaze from Ila Delta State, you asking about her. I believe she's listening as well. On the poll, Onyedikachi, if we must scrap zoning, then we must also scrap indirect primaries. Because if we don't scrap the indirect primaries, then stakeholders will always have a big say on who votes during the primary elections. Ali Friday Onwe says, good morning. When it comes to the issue of zoning at the villages, it should be allowed, or the people should be allowed to pick or elect their representatives, because we call stakeholders rather people who represent their pack and their family, not the interests of the people. Okay, we have Chineke Kajathan who says, good morning.